Hello, everybody, and welcome to Electric City Sentai DenziCaster's DenziNow. It's Mike here, the host, DenziCaster, sporting our new Kamen Rider build style t-shirt that you can get on our Redbubble store, redbubble.com/people/Geek Carolina. And today we are going to talk about, as I futilely try to play catch up, we're going to be going through episodes 29 through 32 of Kamen Rider Build. This week here on DenziNow. So before we get started, remember, if you want to help us out here at Geek Carolina, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Just let us know in the comments below. Either way, we love to hear feedback. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We would really, really appreciate it. So, time to talk about some Kamen Rider Build. So today, we are looking at episode 29, The Opening Bell Rings, episode 30, The Truth of Pandora's Box, episode 31, Surging Magma, and episode 32, Programmed Tragedy. So, just to get my usual stuff out of the way, because it's usual stuff is usual. I love this show. This is rapidly, and I do mean rapidly, becoming my favorite Heisei era Kamen Rider. It really, truly is. Every single time that I sit down and look at this and think to myself, there's no way they are going to be able to top themselves. There's no way they're going to be able to keep the momentum going. There's no way they're going to be able to just keep something fresh and new every batch of episodes. And then, boom, they surprise me out of nowhere, and I absolutely love that. So, must say, all the cool stuff is still cool here with Kamen Rider Build. I'm really, really digging this show. We're going to go through some really brief synopses, because a lot of times on DenziCaster and Denzi Blitz and DenziNow, I tell you, if you want the synopses, go Wikipedia that stuff. But with Kamen Rider Build, it's part and parcel. So if you're like me and you were behind, spoilers, because the show's still airing. So the Opening Bell Rings. This is basically the fallout from the proxy battle. So the war between Seto and Toto is heating up. The proxy battle has happened, which presumably would decide the war, and the Kamen Riders were victorious, and Toto won the battle, which means that Hokuto should be restored, and the war is off. However, the president of Namba Heavy Industries has offed the prime minister of Seto, and has taken his place using Stark's appearance-changing powers, and has basically said, well, you know what? The only people that know who won are us. And they spin it in the media to make it look as if Seto actually won and Toto are the bad guys by not surrendering their territory and their people, as was the agreement. So, yeah, interesting way to set this up. We have the full debut of the new foot soldiers of Namba Heavy Industries, and by extension Seto, the Hard Guardians. I don't know what I think about that. Essentially, the war, though, does not end. Blood Stark, who is fully on the side of Namba Heavy Industries at this point, has stolen the 10 full bottles that were in Toto's possession, puts them in the Pandora box, and the episode actually begins with the sky wall beginning to move and disassemble itself, and the beginnings of a tower being constructed using the power of Pandora's box and manipulating the sky wall. When we get to episode 30, The Truth of Pandora's Box, this is a return, oddly enough, that we haven't really seen in a lot of episodes, and that is just the standard cross-Z form for Banjo. He reverts basically to his base form. And it's the first time we really see this since episode 17. Now, realistically, that is because in the previous episode, for all intent and purpose, his driver, his slosh driver that was allowing him to transform in to Cross Z Charge is, we presume, destroyed. We definitely know that it gets shot and there's sparks and all this other stuff from it. So we presume that it gets destroyed and he reverts back to his old driver. But we get some new stuff in here. We find out between the last episode and this one that Misora has been possessed by Benarge, the Queen of Mars, and it's the soul of the Queen of Mars, who is here to essentially prevent the fate of Mars from happening to Earth and happening to any other planet. And she basically, as this fight is going down that the riders are not faring well in, she evacuates the riders. She actually just teleports them out and says, "You will be hope," to the riders. And they go through to try to fight through the Pandora Tower, reclaim Pandora's box in that particular episode. Not with a great deal of success, but the idea that Misora is possessed by Benarge, and this is the same spirit that overcomes her in an earlier episode and allows her to dispose of some bad guys rather quickly with some incredible, I guess we would say, telekinetic power. It's the same voice and the same effects, so obviously this is the same thing that we've seen several episodes ago, and connected to the bangle she wears, the bracelet. So presumably the soul of the Queen of Mars is held in that bracelet. We also get the debut of Cross Zed's Magma Knuckle, which is a new weapon that we see for Cross Zed, for Banjo, which makes perfect sense because he's an MMA fighter. And we also see the Dragon Magma Full Bottle for the very first time, although it's initially just a black bottle with presumably no further powers. However, episode 31, Surging Magma, we have the debut of Cross Zed Magma, which is now officially my favorite rider design in the show. It builds on the basic Cross Zed costume, but the color scheme of sort of this orange, yellow, and black works really, really well, and the paint that they use, which has a lot of pearlescent properties, that's the word I was looking for, pearlescent properties for the chest armor and whatnot, so that it kind of looks like it's shifting between orange and yellow and red. A really cool looking costume. You have to see it. It's the opening graphic to the episode, so you have to see that armor in motion. It's really, really cool. The big to-do in this is we find out, thanks to some research done by everyone's favorite journalist/spy, that Banjo might not be human. It's entirely possible that he is an alien. And so during most of the episode, we are getting those reveals trickled in throughout as sort of the B-plot to our riders storming the Pandora Tower to retrieve Pandora's box. The really interesting thing is that while we're in the tower, we find out that Rogue is not particularly on the up and up with his captors. Kamen Rider Rogue, it goes rogue, imagine that. We find out in one of the earlier episodes, he has a chip implanted in him that allows the Sato government to basically kill him. That it can cause immense pain and whatnot. They foreshadow it in one episode, and then they outright say it in the next. But he is not above, when being threatened with such things, turning around and very surreptitiously giving information to our heroes. And I really like that. It's very much still in character for Gintoku to do something like that, to turn around and try to manipulate things continuously behind the scenes, even when his back is against the wall. He's not liking the way he's being treated, and I really dig that. I like that they're keeping him in character that way. And then when we get to episode 32, Programmed Tragedy. One of the things that this is the full-on. This is a Ryuga, Banjo Ryuga focus episode. This is him dealing with the fact that he might be an alien, that he's in all likelihood an extraterrestrial life form. And we see how Sento copes with it, but we also see how Ryuga copes with it. We also see over the previous episode and this one, we see what I think is finally the true emergence of Grease as a hero, because he's very much wanting to protect his friends and his homeland, and when faced with the choice of steal Pandora's box away from Toto and return it to us being Sato, or we're going to gun down your friends, and that's going to be that. He chooses to leave the box where it is rather than going and saving his friends, because far more people could find themselves in danger and hurt if he doesn't. And I think that's a really cool piece of business. I think that's a very nice evolution of the character. And then we see Rogue, who, when ordered to kill these people who are willing to die, they said, no, if our boss isn't here, it's because there are more lives at stake than just ours. In that situation, he releases the hostages and says, hey, look, the plan failed. There's no point in killing them. It's needless lives being wasted. And he's starting to assert himself more and more and becoming less and less a puppet, which, as manipulative and as assertive as Gintoku is in the early episodes, I'm really glad they bring that back here. So let's chat about the things I liked and the things I didn't like and so on. Things I liked. First and foremost, Cross Z Magma is an amazing looking suit. If I still collected figure arts of all the riders from all the shows, that would be very high on my to-do list. As it stands, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Magma t-shirt show up in one of our shops. But I mean, it's just a tremendous thing. I really, really love that suit. It's one of the coolest Kamen Rider costumes I've seen in a very long time. And in this show, where, to be perfectly honest, I find that the villain quasi-rider costumes, like Bloodstark and Night Rogue, and even the Gear Bros, where I find their costumes are aesthetically more pleasing for the most part. I didn't necessarily... I like Cross Z, but I don't love it. I do not like the evolved form of Cross Z Charge. Grease really doesn't do a whole lot for me. It's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. The more and more I see them, my opinions of them are shifting. Build in his base form, I really, really do like, and I like his hazard form, the black suit with the red and blue accents. His new Rabbit and Tank forms, I think it takes away from the aesthetic of the split color dynamic. But Magma is far and away, to me now, the coolest looking rider in the show. Rogue probably comes in... Rogue's either second or third. Because I really do dig the Rogue costume as well, the Kamen Rider Rogue suit. So Magma, fantastic costume. The story, as it continues on, I've said this before on here, and I will say it probably until the show proves me wrong or until the series is over. There's no filler in this show. You have to watch every episode. Every episode gives you something new and different and advances the plot forward in some way. There's character development. There's evolution of circumstance. The world is moving forward. There are stakes. There are things that, costs to every action and reaction. So I'm really, really digging this. And every time I sit there, and I've watched plenty of Toku shows, folks, over the years. I've been a die-hard Tokusatsu fan now since 1999. So for almost 20 years of just die-hard consuming whatever Tokusatsu I can find. When you're that big a fan of something, eventually you come to realize you can guess what's coming next. And this show genuinely keeps me guessing. And that is a rare treat for someone that's a longtime fan of something. So I really, really, really love this show. Um, Things that I didn't like. Some of the music at this point is going from being fun to genuinely annoying to me. And the biggest thing is that I don't know off the top of my head, and I should actually do some research between this episode and the next one I record. Um, I'm gonna hazard a guess that the composer of this show is probably the same composer from Akiba Ranger, and the only reason I say that is because they share so many musical cues and so much styling and tone to the music. And because I've seen Akiba Ranger and I have that in my head, it bothers me sometimes because uh, while I associate it with being heroic, triumphant music, I also associate it with being part of an over the top, ridiculous show, which this is not. Which brings me to my next point. Some of the sound effects in this show are god awful. The click, click, click of the full bottles, I don't mind. That's established from the beginning, and it's just part and parcel at this point. I'm fine with it. It makes sense. It's not unlike a spray paint can where you shake it and there's a little marble in it to help shake everything up. That doesn't bother me. The slide whistle sound effect that comes with the rabbit rabbit tank tank bottle, that is horrid. I don't mind the belts talking for the most part. That's a common thing in Kamen Rider. I don't mind a lot of the ridiculous sound effects in the show, but that one I bloody well mind because it sounds too silly for a show that isn't silly. It has its comedic moments and its comedic tones, but it's telling a very specific and fairly serious story. So those sound effects are right out for me. And then probably the only other thing that I don't care for at this point is some of the henshin sequences are getting redundant. Where you have the very heavy CG elements to the transformation sequences. I'm glad they're not stock footage, but there's so much CG that frankly doesn't look great. It's bog standard CG for a weekly Toei Toku show, but when you're seeing it over and over and over and over again, multiple times in every episode, it's getting old. There was a transformation in one of these episodes, I think it's in 31, where Seto is sitting on his bike. He's about to charge into the Pandora's Tower, and he transforms into Build, and it's a flash transform. There's no big construct around him that slams the armor into him. It's just boom, done. And I was like, wow, that was cool because it's very different than what they're doing, and has some impact to it. It doesn't slow everything down. I get that you're selling toys, and I get that you're aimed at kids, but doing it over and over again, I get it the first time a form appears, maybe even the first 2 or 3, but after that, I don't need to keep seeing it. So, all in all, final thoughts on these episodes, they're good, folks. Kamen Rider Build, and I'm becoming a broken record now. But 32 episodes in, and I think I'm probably still another 8 or so episodes behind as I'm recording this, but the show is tremendous. Period. Dot. Full stop. The show is absolutely fantastic. I am engrossed in it. I have a hard time stopping after 4 episodes to come and record these and not just keep watching. So, definitely, if you're not watching Kamen Rider Build and you're here with us, then sorry for the spoilers and go start watching this show. If you are watching Kamen Rider Build, you already know what I'm talking about. Let us know what you think of Kamen Rider Build. That's something that we love feedback here, and I would love to get your feedback on what you guys think of Kamen Rider Build. You can do that in the comments down below. We would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, share, like, subscribe, all those things you do. Hit that red button. Subscribe to us here at Geek Carolina. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Thumbs down if you don't. But either way, let us know why in the comments below. And I have something I need to do real quick. We have a contest that has just wrapped up, as in today. It has just wrapped up here on Geek Carolina. And and I'm just trying to find my notes here for who won the contest. But we are giving away Season 1, Volume 1, it's around here somewhere, of Ultraman on DVD. And the way you could enter that contest was on our regular DenziCaster episodes where we're talking about Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Well, we now have a winner, and we're going to announce this over on our Facebook page as well. But the winner of that contest, let me find her name, for crying out loud. But if you just went to one of those videos and left us a comment, one of our Johnny Sacco videos, that's how you wound up in the drawing. And I think it's this one that she left a comment on. At least I think it's a she. But keep your eyes open for more of those contests coming up in the future on our different shows. We've got some really cool prizes we're going to be giving out on future Denzi shows here in the not too distant future. There it is. Scroll up the screen. I should have prepared for this part before starting the recording, but I didn't. So the winner of that contest is Grace Dupree. She actually left some comments on our last episode of DenziCaster where we were talking about Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. So Grace Dupree, if you are out there and you are listening, then you need to get a hold of us and let us know how to get in contact with you. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Geek Carolina, and you can just message us there and let us know how we can get this copy of Ultraman over to you, because you have won Ultraman Volume 1, Season 1 on DVD. So folks, until next time, thank you so very much for watching. If you want to help us out here at Geek Carolina, aside from all the share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff, don't forget about our stores, redbubble.com/Geek Carolina, or redbubble.com/people/Geek Carolina. That's where you can find this cool t-shirt inspired by Kamen Rider Build, along with others. And you can also find more merchandise, more shirts, and cool stuff over at cafepress.com/Geek Carolina. Anything you buy there helps us out here on the show. It does not line anyone's pockets. We all have full-time jobs, but we need things like tripods and lighting and cameras and all kinds of stuff like that, and you guys can help. And we greatly appreciate everything you do, and we thank you for watching. So until next time, when here on DenziNow, I've got some more Kamen Rider Build to watch. I'm Mike. I'll see you around.